It's a choppy day for markets. FOMC meeting today. We see Canada pause their quantitative tightening. They're going into quantitative easing. Bitcoin, price action. Altcoin, price action. We may have moves in both directions, washing people out. What are the targets for Bitcoin? What are the targets for the altcoin market? How do we make sure that we don't get trapped in this move before the bullish resolution to the upside commences? We got to talk about it. Let's go ahead and get this retweeted out. We got target signals and a bunch of data still suggesting the bullish narrative in the data for the crypto market. The crypto bullish data is suggesting that upside is coming. But golly, God darn it, when is it going to be here? We're sitting on our hands waiting for everything to pan out exactly as we want it to. But we need to make sure we're doing this together. We are in this together. So everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. We're going to be diving into the charts here. We got some data. We got some stablecoin printing. We have signals and targets for what's happening with Bitcoin and crypto and altcoins. Alt season feels like it's never going to happen. But is that part of the signal that suggests it is just around the corner? It might be the case. Everybody right now, what are two of the best setups you see on the charts? Let me see your altcoins that you think have a setup. Not just, hey, this is my favorite altcoin. That's nonsense. Be smart. What do you see any setups in the charts with two altcoins that you think might have some rippage to the upside setting up? Again, don't just throw in a coin because you like it. We're going to be diving in here in just a moment. We got about 100 people in the room as we are setting up. Everybody hit the like button. Let's break the records with the likes today. Hit that subscribe button. If you're watching on Twitter, open up that video. You can see a live chat on the right there. I see you, Amir. You said BVM, FFM, ARB. We got other people chiming in. Let's dive into this. We got some signals. BitLab family is here. Let's get into it. Let's go. It's a choppy day, and I expect there's going to be some choppiness in this market today because we're seeing signs, signals, all the things that are suggesting bullishness, but it's also ripe for correction because there's so much hope about what is lying in the charts. I think the patience is wearing thin in the market, and the wrong people are selling while the people that already have money are buying. So what are we doing? Let's dive in. Let's look at this because the setup is still here, everybody. This beautiful setup to get this move right here. Boom. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this. Boom. Where is that? All the way up into that target. Will we get it? Well, looking at what we're seeing right now on the price action, we talked about this yesterday. This move, this bounce here coming up into this range low here, and potential. We talked about a potential sell-off before a resolution. This setup is holding on to a very uncertain, basically no bias here. I mean, look at this. We can see just on this move alone, we got the bounce up, the measuring the Fibonacci from this low to this high. This came right down just short of the golden pocket right here. It's 0.618, 0.65, and it bounced above that. It's trying to hold above the 382. If we get, there's going to be some signals today based on what the rate cut decision is. It's about a 98, 99% sort of bet with the CME group, basically the professional traders out there, that are indicating it's not very likely we're going to get a pause. But that's not the end of the story. It all depends on what the tonality is in that press conference at 2:30. So when we see the fact that, yeah, we had the sell-off, all it did was test a previous rate, basically this resistance level, now flip to support. Again, kept as support. The bounce up here, this is a indifferent setup in the market. So we're going to be talking about this. We're going to be talking about what's going on with SUI. We're going to be talking about Solana. We're going to be talking about Chainlink. We're going to be going through some coins today, but we got to go through what's going on in the market. So as everybody's piling in here, I see we got Sack Nasty, Theo Rodriguez, Falco, ST, I guess it's St. Goose, Amir over there from Twitter. Everybody, if you're watching on X, get in that live chat, man. Let's build communities on both sides. Make sure people see what you got going on. Let's do this. But you know what? When we're looking at what's going on in the market, we're still hovering in this same zone, 3.4, around that 3.4 to 3.5 trillion dollar market. Bitcoin hovering above that 2 trillion. This is still Ethereum. Guys, I think Ethereum is going to be having a move. We have some data that's suggesting maybe there's some insider knowledge because there are some big moves happening behind the scenes on Ethereum while everybody just thinks it's dead. Big money doesn't make moves into things that are dead typically. So we got to pay attention to that. XRP still, up here, 175 billion, Solana 110, BNB under 100 billion. And then almost, look at that, less than half that, or about half of that down here. Dogecoin, 47 billion. Cardano holding on to that $32 billion slot, under $1 on Cardano. But what are we seeing in the markets? This is what we are seeing. First off, we talked about this last week. What is this? Why is this important? This chart is important because it basically marks the first time, and I talked about this leading up until this time frame. We talked about the fact that the price action did push up. Oh my God, 109. But we talked about when the price came down, which right here it held above 100,000, but this lost 100,000, right? We're on the 2-hour chart. Let's go to the 1-hour chart. On the 1-hour chart, look at this. We lost $100,000 and then bounced up in here. But when you come over here to the daily, when you look at this on the daily chart, where the candle closes are, gives you a lot more clarity on basically the price levels being respected. And look at all these candle closures. This was above $100,000 right here, 101. This right here, 1019, basically 102. This closed right here, 102, 1012. This opened here, and currently we're going to get a bit of a decision. And I'm expecting we're going to see some volatility today. We talk about this every time we have an FOMC meeting, whether we get a move down, back up, boom, and then a resolution, or potentially the pump up, then the sell off, boom, boom, basically washing out liquidity in both directions in the market. Today is a very high trap caution day. So do not let yourself get trapped, meaning it starts pushing up. So you jump in because you're excited, only for it to reverse. Then you jump out, and then it has that reversal where it actually continues the direction you initially bet on. The market is going to be trapping people in both directions today. So when we look at this and we realize that $100,000 officially turned into support for the first time in Bitcoin history, this marks something very positive for where we're at. It doesn't mean we can't lose it again, but every one of these things that we're looking towards the future on within, especially with crypto right now, is building as many ingredients towards a narrative as possible. Right now, this is one but of a many ingredients in market confusion and excitement and hope and fear, all tangled into this one chart. But the fact that we're holding above right here, all holding above $100,000 is remarkable, to say the least. And we were talking about that here in the studios here with TJ and Drew and DZ. People are frustrated right now, and the price is holding above $100,000. The price is chopping sideways above and the back below and but we're starting to see some bit of ingredients of structural change in that the price is holding above $100,000 for the moment. Now, will we get a washout down? Will we get a bigger move down? We cannot ignore the fact, as bullish as we want to be, we cannot ignore the fact that we had a massive, look at this, massive momentum impulse up into this zone. Sell-off, much smaller move here, basically like a double top. There are bearish signals. There are bearish reasonings and logic to the fact that you could argue that this is setting up with the potential of a bigger move washout down, whether it's back into this zone here in the $92,000, $94,000 range, or even potentially all the way down here into the 85 or below. Now, which way is it going to go? I do know that the macro on this market is setting up with the most bullish runway into the future, but that doesn't account. The macro doesn't account for what's going to happen on the 4-hour chart, the 1-hour chart, the 15-minute chart, especially when there's so much excitement around where we want this market to go. I know I'm a little frustrated. I'm a little frustrated because it's so much more exciting when the market's moving up and you look into your portfolio and it's going up. And then I remind myself that if I'm so bullish, looking at all this data, not the price, who cares about the price? If I'm so bullish on everything lining up for in support and empowerment of where the crypto niche, the crypto industry is going, then we should be celebrating this sideways price action. In fact, we should hope that we get a larger dip so that we can take advantage of it to either lower our average entries or get great entries on projects that we missed out on, or just basically adding to positions before the market realizes all that underlying bullishness that's just getting pent up. So take note of that. So when we're diving back in here, let's go through some of these stories and we're going to get into the TA. So let's see. It's still alts. It's alts, dude, says Neil McCart. Be prepared, not scared, you degens. Bull Trap says, poke pack fire. Let's get into it, guys. Well, when we're looking at this, realize this. Scott Melker said, we're at the point in the cycle where Bitcoiners cheer for central banks. And there's something so much more bullish than that. What is it? Correction. We are now at the point in the cycle and the awareness and the need for this asset where central banks and governments realize it's inevitable. It was always going to take over the world. This is why we're seeing all these talks about state level strategic Bitcoin reserves, the national Bitcoin, here, the US national Bitcoin reserve, potential digital asset stockpile, what that means for other nations around the world and what they're doing. But they don't all agree. So we got to remember that the bullish framework is here, but there's going to be chop and volatility along the way because we're still so early in this market. So I'm going to go ahead and give him a like for that. By the way, go follow Mark Moss if you're not. He puts out great content on a regular basis. Also has a book out about Bitcoin. But then here we go. Dip buying commenced. Is the pump coming soon? This is from Tony Edward, who we've had here on the channel. And this is what it is. $1 billion minted at the Tether Treasury. This tends to precede sort of market reversals before a continuation to the upside. So pay attention to this. While everybody's scared, that shouldn't be scared. All of us that want to change our life, yet we buy tops and sell bottoms. Let's change our lives by changing our habits, changing our actions in this market. Let's buy the fear and sell the greed. Now, I want you all, again, none of this is financial advice. This is just looking at strategies over time and what different market participants and different types of big money players versus small money failures do in this market. Let's mimic the whales, not the people getting eaten alive by the sharks. And then we realize what's going on in the market is something that happens so damn regularly. It's astounding that we don't recognize it. Bitcoin's January and February pattern. Every January and February for the last 2 years, and in preceding January, February's, the year following the halving, history is repeating. Well, what do we see? I mean, you can see this right here. 2023, we had the sell-off down to the reset. Boom. This was a market cycle. I can't see it if I do that. This was the FTX collapse. Boom, right here. Price action sideways. This is also where the global liquidity started turning up sharply, foreshadowing large bullish movements to the upside. And then also what we get, the breakout up. Okay, a little bit of a sell-off there, reset. Boom, breakout up. This January, February, boom, sell-off. And what was this? Also, consider what this was, everybody. What was this? This was also right when we had the run-up. Is it speculation? Is it global liquidity? Is it all of it? Is it the halving cycle? All these things are tangled in within each other. And what we're seeing here, how you doing, James Rice? How you doing? Say, yo, what's up, everyone? What did I miss so far? We're just getting into it. We're setting up for an incredibly bullish future within Bitcoin and the crypto markets. And yet people are getting so lost in the 15-minute, the daily, the 4-hour candles saying, why isn't it going up now? Because it's giving you opportunity if you're paying attention. This is rinse and repeat for what we've seen in previous cycles, in previous January, Februaries, in previous setups on the market, where we're at in relationship to the halving cycle. This was the bullish speculation about the ETFs. We had the launch, the sell-off, buy the rumor, sell the news. And then what happened? Boom, we got the next launch. 7 months sideways, completely, ate so many people's lunch alive here. And then what are we seeing right here again? We're seeing the same thing. And people are so worried. What the hell are we worried about, man? We are in the best asset class in the history of the world that has the most potential for upside because we're at the earliest stages of adoption, and we're mad that we have more time to get better positioned. Do you realize that? You're mad that the market isn't just rocketing up right now, while rather than being excited that the market is still providing you opportunity to stack in. We've been bullish. So why not be bullish on the fact that we can take advantage of the opportunity that this market isn't running away yet? Ask yourself that. Let me know what you're doing about it right now in your portfolios. Are you selling, capitulating emotionally? Or are you taking time to either sit on your hands or find ways to get more exposure to the various assets that you think are going to perform? That's what this is all about right now. We need to have strategy, not emotional slavery to these charts. Because here's the leading signal. Boom, money supply is expanding. You know what that means for asset prices. We've talked about it over and over and over and over. This is that area right here. I'll zoom in on it. Boom. This is that area right here. FTX collapse. Boom. Look, sideways price action. This is when the global liquidity money was printing. Boom. Front running the big move on the market. But Bitcoin's not ready, so it's going to correct. Well, is that the case, or was it the global liquidity ticking down across that as well? And then boom, this ticked up right at the same point that we got the speculation, the speculative move because of ETFs. Was it that, or was it that also tied to the fact that we had global liquidity expanding? And then the market went sideways. Well, why did it go sideways? Bitcoin's price went too high relative to what we've seen in previous cycles. Is that it? Or is it the fact that the global liquidity went flat and was descending? Money coming out of markets, risk coming out of markets. You see, all these things are tied into each other. And then once this started ticking up right here, we started getting that leading signal for the price of Bitcoin to go up as well. What's been incredible, and I've talked about this before, is that the price action continued to make this move because it does lag a little bit while the global liquidity was coming down. But this is that signal that we've been looking for, that we've been waiting on. And we got further indication of this today where we had, almost at China, where we had Canada. They are ending quantitative tightening. So that's one of those factors here in global liquidity. We see China is also on the verge. I mean, there are issues with their economy. $18 trillion melting out of their economy since 2021. $18 trillion. They're going to be printing money very big, very soon. They've already done some $140 billion injections here and there, but there's going to be some major printing going on. Now, do we want money printing on a theoretical, on a moral level? Absolutely not. But we know it's going to happen. So let's capture that money and the growth in these different assets that are basically built to capture it. Investing benefits you when there's money printing. Now, it's terrible for the majority of the people because they're unaware of that. They're unaware that the hours they spend to work are getting devalued by the moment every time there's money printing. That's saying your time was less valuable than you actually spent when you agreed for that rate. But what we're seeing now is we're seeing the signals here where the global liquidity is starting to tick up. We have the FOMC meeting today. I doubt we're going to get a rate cut, although Trump said we need to cut rates. It's not his decision. It's the Fed's. So the question is going to be, what happens with that? Is it going to be a shock to the markets because of what we saw with NVIDIA and the tech sector taking a pretty big haircut, pretty big dip after all this DeepSeek issue and FUD? And is it true? Are they dethroning what's AI? There's a lot of questions in the market right now, yet we're seeing the global liquidity tick down, suggest sort of round out here, hitting that bottom. If we do get that uptick, especially if there's positive dovish, like maybe we're going to get more, they're indicating we may get more rate cuts than previously intended for this year. So there's a lot going on right now when we realize that we've held above $100,000. We've got the global, the M2 money supply is ticking back up. This doesn't mean it's going to go up only. It might push up. It might push up, have a little sell-off, push up, or retraction and push up. But we are in the right direction now, at least. And then we see right here, this is what I was talking about, the FOMC meeting today where they decide what the federal funds interest rate is going to be, which has a big impact on the market. However, I don't give a rat's ass about this. Somehow all these traditional asset traders and stock, it's going to create volatility in the chart, but it creates no impact, in my opinion, no impact on the true, like what's going on with Bitcoin. Because if there's issues in the economy, if there's issues with they should or shouldn't cut rates, it doesn't change the beauty that Bitcoin is, the fixed supply, 21 billion Bitcoin, the fact that we have the world chomping on the bit, or at least becoming aware that they need to chomp on the bit of stacking into Bitcoin with strategic Bitcoin reserves and corporate treasury reserves. This is just noise. The FOMC meeting today is noise. And that's why I said today on the thumbnail, don't get trapped. Because when we look at this, for instance, on like the 1 hour time frame, let's go to a cleaner chart. I do think, let's go to this one. It's very strong likelihood that, we get, we don't get, it's a pause or something, we get a sell off. It scares people. It moves back up. everybody gets excited, they go over leverage, comes back out, washes them out, trades sideways, and then it picks a direction over the next week or two here shortly. There's going to be traps in both directions because this is all noise to Bitcoin. Now, what is it going to mean for alts? You know, if we do see weakness coming into Bitcoin, we're going to see alts bleed. Be aware of that. Now, does that suck for your current holdings? Sure, if you have position or longer term holdings, but it also means, again, reminder, it also means, again, that if you do come over here and look at the others chart, if this does bleed further, it's still in a bullish structure. I adjusted the lines on this after all this price action. It's just a falling wedge. Now, this could go quite a bit of the way further, but every moment that this is coming lower or trading sideways in this range is giving you further opportunity to stack into the assets that you want to. For those that are position or midterm, basically cycle trading, not, if you're actively trading, sure, long, short, all that, we cover all the longs and the shorts in the free traders group. The link is down below in the description. But don't be upset if it's not just moonshot right now. Because we have signals that the bullishness is coming. This is that point in the cycle where it's a make or break thing for so many people. I do want to shout out everybody that's tuned in. Welcome to the show. If this is your first time here, my name's Kellam, and we're in this together, okay? We're here bringing you unbiased looks at what's happening in the market, breaking down tools, signals, information, charts, setups. We want to make sure we can all succeed in this market. I made so many mistakes early on. I've been in the market since about, started getting in 2015, 2016 is where I really started getting into it. 2017, I was like basically all in. I should have tens or 20s of millions of dollars, but I made some stupid mistakes back in 2017, 2018, 2019. And then I basically got it all under wraps by 2020. And I don't want people to make the same mistakes I did. I don't want you to lose $100,000 in a single trade because you're just being a jackass, which is what I was being. And now, I'm doing completely fine. I don't have the tens of $20-30 million, but I'm doing very well in this market because I learned from my mistakes. And I just hope I can pass on to you what I learned and strategies that I've learned that have worked. But we're all watching this right now. And I think more than anything, this is just going to provide us access on the chart. It's going to provide us opportunity if we're paying attention to what's going on. And that's because right here, FOMC meeting today, scenarios to watch. Hawkish, meaning we still need to be very concerned. That's risk off, fewer rate cuts, inflation risks, stocks, and crypto sell-off. If we get dovish, meaning, you know what? We really, we should start moving towards, cutting more rates and blah, blah, blah. And he says right here, supports 2025 rate cuts. Inflation is cooling. Markets will rally. So I think either way, it's going to be the decision and then the tonality. This is the hawkish and dovish, bullish or bearish, basically on risk. That's going to be in the interview that they do, the press conference they do, I think at 2:30. And this is exactly how it looks on the chart. Fed funds rate, this is that interest rate versus the total 3, all your altcoins. When the Fed funds rate crosses the moving average, then it confirms the rate cuts, the rates are going down. Last time was in August 2019. Rates dropped from 2% to 0%. When total 3 crosses the moving average, it goes parabolic. The Fed fund rate just crossed the moving average. What to expect? Well, this is what we're seeing. Look, see, boom, crossed the moving average right here. And it did take a little bit of time, but then we got the pop right there. Same thing right here. We've crossed the moving average. It did have, some months here, but the setup is there, guys. Then we look at things like this. We also see the U.S. This is just FUD. This is a combination of FUD we've seen over the last week that leads me to believe that there's all these little groupings of just very potentially bearish stories that stoke fear. Tends to happen into a moment that is a beautiful reversal back to the upside. So are they going to sell, $6+ billion worth of Bitcoin? You know what? Who cares if they do? It will create an opportunity in the market because we know it's happening. We know it's coming in this market. So let's keep our heads down. And then we look at this. Bitcoin massive pump could happen in just 4 months. That also kind of lines up with what we just saw with that Fed fund rate crossing moving average and then that several month period before the move. But in addition to this is also showing what can happen within 4 months. Look at this point right here. 4 months in 2017, look at that move, absolute parabolic. Very reminiscent, very similar here with what we're seeing. Based on 2017 trends, Bitcoin might soar above 300K in short period of time. Now, let's not get so fixated on whether it's 150, 300, 500. There's no way we can tell of what this is going to do. The higher the price goes, the more of an incentive it can be for people to sell. Right? However, we're also entering an entirely new landscape with this market. Why is that? Specifically here in the US with all these new rule changes with fair value accounting. So corporations could hold Bitcoin on their balance sheet without it being a liability. So banks also, SAB 121 rescinded. Now banks can hold in custody Bitcoin and allow people to take loans against their Bitcoin. Now, of course, we've been able to do that. We did it last cycle where we had all those cascading failures, BlockFi and Voyager and Celsius. But now when you get into the regulated bodies of traditional finance, like banks, and we have more wide options, like Coinbase Lending is also doing this now through Morpho. There's going to be a number of others. You can also do it with Aave, essentially what DeFi is, decentralized finance. But it's going to become, especially with bigger players, or even medium-sized players that have great financial acumen within markets, you can prevent yourself from having a tax burden from selling because you need to realize money for a wedding, for a car, for medical bills, for buying a house, whatever it is. You'll be able to reduce the amount of selling pressure on the market because you could take a loan against it, which doesn't create a taxable event, and you can use that loan in dollars to cover whatever it is you have in your life. This is going to be drastically, and it might not happen specifically, and it will take some time for all this to pan out. But the landscape of this market is changing more bullishly than we can even imagine. And then we look at things like this. The whales are moving in while everybody else is like, but it's the top, right? It's the top. We should sell. I'm scared. It dropped 6%. The whales are buying your fear, man. The whales, smart money, is saying, okay, these pipsqueaks are selling right now before we have the real move. Let's buy it from them. That's also probably why some of these FUD stories are coming out. A surge in Bitcoin inflows to whale wallets signals accumulation. The big money is saying, let's accumulate, likely from OTC trades. So I think there's going to be a lot of stealth buying going on in this market. And here we go. The accumulation addresses. I can't do it right there. Let me go back to this. Right here, you can see it. Look at the difference here. Few and far between, very sparingly, these accumulation address spikes. But look at this. We got a big move right here just after the ETF, and then all this increase, massive amount of accumulation in the wallets that are identified as accumulation addresses. Now, what does that mean? We have on-chain data with Bitcoin. We have on-chain data with blockchain that allows you to decipher and have transparent information in ways that you never really were with the traditional finance ecosystem, with stocks and equities and banks. With this, it's like you can literally look on chain. Okay, how many wallets are out there? How many wallets have more than 10,000 Bitcoin? How many wallets have Bitcoin that when they're deposited, 75% or more of that Bitcoin, never moves? Then you can also assume when Bitcoin goes in there, that's going to be an accumulation address because that wallet address is shown to be a holding wallet, a holding player rather than a short-term trading type player or scared player. So we are seeing, a huge amount of offloads from exchanges. There's almost like a supply shock going on right now, and people are worried. And then we see, and in addition to that, people are worried. And then you see DJT, Trump Media, and Technology Group announces the launch of TruthFi, expanding into fintech with $250 million in investments, focusing on SMAs, ETFs, and crypto. This is massive. So now they have World Liberty Fi and TruthFi, and they've only been stacking. It's actually, hold on, I got one more. I always, I don't know. Coming back here. They've been stacking Ethereum like mad. They've been stacking, people worried about Ethereum, and guys, that's going to blow up so much. Ethereum's secret bullish signal. Every time USDT dominance drops, ETH goes parabolic. And this also is true for Bitcoin. It's happened again, and Trump is fueling it by stacking ETH daily. Don't fade this setup. USDT dominance, aka there's stable coins either being printed or people have sold out of crypto into stable coins, right? So the market cap for stable coins goes up. And then look at this. We have all of a sudden higher low, higher low, higher low, all of a sudden lower low, followed by a lower high. And I mean, last time that happened with ETH, boom, boom, right here. I do think the setup is real. I think the setup is here. And then we see Bitcoin dominance is flashing a dead cat bounce. If the dominance on Bitcoin goes down, that means altcoins are really starting to get that sort of a bit more of a focus and liquidity flowing into them. Looks bullish. Don't be fooled. This pattern always traps before breaking down. So pay attention here. We see this. We saw this. Oh, comes back down. People went all in, but it came back up. We still have a lower high here. It's not a guarantee that this can't even push all the way back up in here, get a double, double top in this zone. But this is, the setup is suggesting, and it's getting more likely by the day as we move into where we're at in this cycle. And then you can also see the monthly ADX just passed the DI on total two. The past two instances left between 6 to 8 months of upside before the top in altcoins was in. So we're seeing this right here, which is very similar to right here. Now, these are 2-month candles, right? So boom, yes, this had a pretty decent run up already, but then you had another plus 50%. Now this is on an index, so there's going to be massive gains in some of your altcoins and much smaller ones in others. But we're seeing signals across the board that the setups are here. And then we look at the others chart, targeting $2 trillion. This is others, everything outside of the top 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the top 10 market cap coins, the largest coins. Exclude those, look at every other altcoin. Look at that setup, cup, almost like a cup and handle here. And then when you get that last leg, boom, same thing happened back here. Same thing that is setting up right here with the same sort of chop right in that zone. And people are worried right now. What the hell are we worried about? Let's keep our mind about us. Binance also, for those that hold Ondo, Binance is accumulating a ton of Ondo. This aligns with what I heard from insiders that Binance listing may be coming after the summit. Is that going to be the case? It's on Coinbase, of course, but is this going to get a huge liquidity injection or access if this is listed on Ondo? I do think it will be. But Binance stacking Ondo, amazing. And then we also see Sui launches on Phantom Wallet, expanding access to 15 million users. So let's go ahead and dive in here, look at some of these coins and realize, one, liquidity is starting to turn up. We're coming into that part of the cycle that we're expecting the most bullishness. We have a new crypto-focused, crypto-friendly administration. There was a lot of expectation leading into that. And now we're bleeding off the rumor and then the news, even if we're just going sideways. Sometimes sideways consolidation is the correction. It doesn't always have to be a correction down. So we got to pay attention today in any of the chop going on, because I do think that I do think February is going to be a bullish month. Even right now, we're on the 29th. Well, we showed you what it looked like the last 2 years, January into February, sell off January, launch in February. So let's be a little patient. Then we see the capital flow, boom, came down. This means money starting, bottomed here, starting to come back in. And then we also see the ETFs. Oh my God, sell off because there's, a bunch of scared new people in the market. But then we're getting, this kind of dramatically basically came to about zero. Very beautiful. And then everybody's wondering about the liquidity in the markets. Well, we're kind of trapped in a zone right now of uncertainty. So what does it mean on the market? Well, let's go back over to Bitcoin and realize that currently all we've done is we had a breakdown. We have a rebound up. And just so you know, check this out. Option F. So we can go from the candle. There we go. Right into the golden pocket. From this move all the way down. Why is this? There we go. Kind of right, just shy of the golden pocket, and then measuring this move to this move, bounces back down. We're trapped between two golden pockets. It's the golden pockets of uncertainty, trying to figure out which way it's going to move. Again, I do think there's going to be some chop in both directions on this. Let's, there we go. Let's pull up the data. Boom. It's above, this shows uncertainty. It's above the weekly VWAP, but under the Trading signal line. I couldn't think of the word. I didn't sleep well last night. Trading signal line right here. Boom. It's kind of trapped between these two. Again, I do expect some chop here. I don't expect just a moonshot out of this unless there's a rate cut today and dovishness. You know, anything can happen. But we do have money flows positive here on the 6 hour. But look at the VWAP on this. Boom. It came down. It's right back at zero. It's trying to figure out what direction it wants to go. To me, this is kind of a no trade zone today. Probably into tomorrow to let some of the chop and excitement and fear and hope and let all the noise clear out, right? And then we look over at Ethereum. Still bullish. What do you mean bullish? It's not doing anything. I mean, remember, this has got a giant shoulder, giant, basically inverted head and shoulders, or you can call this a cup and handle, or you can call this a falling wedge, all three of which are bullish patterns. A larger time frame pattern, a little bit smaller time frame, and even right here, falling wedge right into the zone. I mean, if this can hold these zones right in where it's at right now, let's go like this. So look at the order blocks below. A lot of liquidity interest kind of held us support, but then we have all this liquidity interest basically suppressing us above, and it's kind of right here in the middle of the pocket. Now, if this does wash out down to this also would be a slightly higher low than this wick, especially depending on where the candle body closes. But we're seeing the momentum wave sort of round out again. But some of these signals are not going to be clear because of the volatility that can be brought into the market today, depending on what's said. So then we see Solana falling. Look, basically bullpen it, falling wedge, whatever. Now, although I'm bullish on this, I wouldn't count out something like this coming in before you got the move up. Everybody's like, it's a bullish pattern. It's going to go up. Well, let's wash them out down and then launch to the upside. Now, it's what would be the most bullish right now is to hold the level that it's at because we kind of have these lows kind of forming a bit of a base here, holding above the 223 sort of zone, really above, 225, 223. If we can chop in here and then, break out of there, that would be the best. But the market doesn't always just do the best, easiest thing that's most clear. The point right now is just patience, everybody. Did you see XRP? All their cases were deleted from the DOJ website. Okay, yeah, it doesn't mean anything. There's all this, nonsense going on right now with infighting between XRP and Bitcoin and institutional. It's like, but at the end of the day, the chart's still very bullish. You have this massive, look at that massive leg to the upside. Bit of a falling wedge, breaks out, finds support, pushes up. But this is a much smaller momentum wave here. So it wouldn't be surprising to me if XRP did get a little bit of a sell-off and come back into the 230, 240 sort of range. But again, everything's just waiting on a signal right now for where the risk is going to come from. Sometimes down is good. January is going to be good. Feb. Yeah. Think about it. If we're bullish on where this is going, then I've been able to stack in some stuff in January. And I'm happy that the market hasn't run away. I'm thankful. I'm grateful that the frustration of price action for the majority of people out there, if you understand what your time horizon is in this market, where you think these different assets are going and what could be coming forecasted ahead, then you're thankful for the boring periods. The boring periods get out all the people that aren't going to make it in this market anyway. And I don't want any of you to be that person. Core PCE price index tomorrow also, says KJM. Shout out for that information. Sit on your hands, guys, says Granny's Garden. Yeah. Shout out to everybody here, man. Then we got Litecoin. Also, look, just falling. It's almost like there's indifferent bullish, bearish patterns in the chart. Very bullish coming up. Okay, we broke out, but almost a double top there also. But this is a falling wedge. The market's waiting on big boy Bitcoin. And, some clarity about some of the stuff going on with the confirmations in government. And also, guys, income tax, are we going to get a income tax deleted? Cardano, this is exactly what we were talking about yesterday. Pushed up into here. If we can hold above this looks kind of similar to what we just saw in Bitcoin. Option F, you measure this from the bottom to the top. Look at that. Comes right down, right into the golden pocket. 0.618, 0.65. This can hold this zone, that's very bullish, and then break out from there. BitTensor has, kind of continued its move up a little bit. It can't get through this zone, though. See this neckline, essentially right here, option J. It's pushing up into this, look at this, pushed up into this, came right back to the 382. It's going to be the deciding factor of what's going on, not only with Bitcoin, but also all of this debate about what DeepSeek means to the broader AI narrative. Everybody's so worried about it. In fact, think about it. If DeepSeek is really great and it's more affordable and it proves that things can be, that means the adoption and the integration and the development on AI is only going to increase dramatically. Costs are going to come down here in the US because they're going to be forced to because of the international competition. And then in addition to that, that means there's going to be more need for more AI infrastructure, AI need. There's going to be more interest in the space. There's going to be more capital flowing in. So, I mean, I just think there's so much noise in the market right now. We just need to clear some of it out and realize that, you know, Render providing great opportunity, melting down here. Oh, look at this, melting all the way down into this, basically this zone right here where all this chop is. Is it over for Render? I don't think it is. Aerodrome. I mean, I'm so bullish on AERO. Let's clean up some of these charts. Let's do remove. There we go. Remove drawings. Come back up. I mean, so we got this option T, drag that across like that. Seems like we got a pretty big, if this, I mean, I didn't even see that before. If this plays out, this could be frustrating as it could be. If this plays out where it comes down like this, because this would point all the way. That would be a huge amount of time to deal with if that happened. But let's pay attention as it goes. But if we look at it in a much smaller time frame, remember what Aerodrome's doing with. Remember how many new people are coming in the market. Remember the Coinbase Lend. Remember with Morpheus. Remember with the DeFi that's happening within Base. Remember wrapped Bitcoin on Base. It's all being processed through Aerodrome, the DEX on Base. I mean, yeah. So I mean, guys, there's just opportunities abound. Look at this beautiful rounding level. I mean, W pattern. It's kind of an invert head and shoulders too, but just resets abound. We do have a pretty big divergence there on how small that momentum wave is, but I'm not worried right now. There's going to be chop today. Let's be positive. Let's all Steady Bug has a brain. I guess it says Crypto King. It's like they're trying to keep viewers and not be honest. Wait, who are we talking about? You guys say Bitcoin was saved by Sailor, or it would be crap in the bed right now. We need to have these honest discussions. I don't think. I mean, I think it does have an impact what Sailor's doing. I think especially like being a shining example for what's happening. You know, you saw like Metaplanet. They're now the best traded stock in Asia because they adopted the same sort of Michael Saylor plan with Metaplanet, you know, becoming a Bitcoin treasury. And that's going to persist. I do think he did lay out a great roadmap for corporations taking on Bitcoin as a treasury. But I love you guys. I'm bullish on this market. I'm you know, remember, dog to the moon, still down here kind of in this buy zone, holding up better than a lot of the other altcoin, other meme coins that are out there. And it's like so frustrating. Why isn't it doing anything? Remember, we outlined that this was a nearly same setup of what we saw with Pepe. I think it's right there. Yeah, look at this. Look at this setup. Boom. Setup, sideways, falling wedge into the buy zone launch. Now look at this. Same thing. The breakdown, push up, the sideways into the falling wedge. Now, does the launch happen immediately? No. Things always get most frustrating before the best happens, or you're just lucky. In this case, we can see, you know, with what's going on in the price action here, that this is, I mean, it's falling into a wedge before the market really takes off that next major move to the upside. And it tends to happen when people start counting out alt season, when they say it's not going to happen. This time is different. Yet we're on the stage right now with the new crypto-focused administration that is empowering to Bitcoin and crypto. In fact, they talk about getting a digital asset stockpile beyond just a strategic Bitcoin reserve. We see World Liberty Finance stacking into all kinds of different altcoins. We see TruthFi now, Donald Trump's media company, also, you know, creating that $250 million budget towards allocation towards crypto. We see an entirely changing guard of the SEC. Clarity coming in, actions being dropped or removed even from the DOJ website about what's going on with XRP and all their ongoing lawsuits. We're seeing clarity come into markets, which is going to free up capital, which is going to start to see, positive movements, not just in the traditional finance world, but in the crypto ecosystem too. So it's important to find your convictions, stick to them, and then also make sure to remain adaptable and get some broader exposure to some other things that are exciting. That's why I have Chainlink and Ondo and Aerodrome and, Constellation DAG and Dog to the Moon, because it's all could be very serious, but there's also culture within this ecosystem as well. And, I think Dog's going to do really well. In fact, I would love if I made, millions plus on Dog to the Moon, because I love dogs, but I love you guys. And, heading over to the blockchain basement now. So we will shoot you over there. This is going to redirect automatically there, but I love you guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. Just remember, if you want to help support the channel, join the link down below this video right here. If you're watching on YouTube, all you have to do is make sure it says subscribed. I cannot believe like 55 or 60% of you guys are not subscribed and you watch on a daily basis. Hit that subscribe. Once it says subscribed, tick this little bell on, you'll get your notifications. And then next to this, it should say join. And it's like $1.25 a week. Become a member here on the BitLab YouTube. Or you can also click on this link right here. If you're on X, you can come over here to the BitLab Academy YouTube page and come and join here. And then, of course, remember, make sure you're protecting yourself online. Head over to nordvpn.com/BitLab. Nord, N-O-R-D, nordvpn.com/BitLab. You get 4 months free. This is like $2 a month. Protect you from identity theft, from stuff going on, when you're doing online banking, crypto, access to different things. They have geo lockouts, all that kind of stuff. Make sure, get a VPN if you're not using one. Then, of course, protect your crypto, protect your future. GetArculus.com. Use code BitLab20 for 20% off. I love you guys. I appreciate you. We'll see you over there on Blockchain Basement. Adios, everybody. Shout out to TexMex Biomex. Subscribe to the best lab around, BitLab Academy. Much love, fellow airmen. Big love to you too. Love all you guys. Appreciate you. I love the community we're all building. Let's stay together. Let's ride this to the top.